Hey, welcome to the new setup, at least for now, and welcome to a review of the new Lil Soft Tennis album, I Have a Wing. Lil Soft Tennis, who has one of my favorite artist names ever, is a rapper hailing from Osaka, Japan, and I Have a Wing is his second studio album. It's the follow-up to 2021's Bedroom Rockstar Confused, which was a weird mash of hyperpop, and sometimes rock, and sometimes rap. It felt boundary-pushing, even if it was a little inconsistent. Contrary to that album's chaos, though, I Have a Wing is a much more organized record. It lays off a lot of the chaos of that album and focuses in on a pop rap sound. And honestly, I think it's kinda worse for it. The first song is the title track, I Have a Wing, and it's just not memorable in any way. The beat is fine, but Lil Soft Tennis is simply not a good enough rapper to carry this track in any meaningful way. The chorus is trying to do some breakbeat stuff, but it fails to accomplish anything that makes breakbeat good. It sounds lame and it sounds lethargic. It feels forced in to try and distinguish it from every other generic rap song ever. This song just isn't very interesting. Want Be You kinda similarly struggles to be interesting. The beat's actually pretty cool here. It makes good use of a sample and would probably work pretty well in the hands of another rapper. Lil Soft Tennis is the big problem with this track. I think this beat would work really well with a laid back and more melodic flow. It needs someone to really glide over it, which is why it's disappointing that he spends this song doing a super fast and jittery delivery that just does not work. Maybe it could have been saved with a feature, but it doesn't have one, so we'll never know. Track 3 does have a feature though, it's VIP featuring Vava. This song has some more distinct pop elements than the last two, which thankfully make it far more interesting. The chorus gets stale after a while, but for a couple initial listens, it's perfectly fine. The flow from Lil Soft Tennis is improved here from the last two songs, and Vava brings a solid verse and some great energy to the table. Once again, I really wish there were more features on this album, because Lil Soft Tennis cannot carry this by himself. This isn't a fantastic song by any means, but it's a definite improvement from the last two, and something I'd be willing to actually listen to in the future. Nietzsche is the fourth song, and it's quite good, mostly for the awesome beat. This beat takes a lot of influence from hyperpop and digicore, and I'm a sucker for those. It goes hard. The feature from Kevon is also really solid here. I genuinely wish that pretty much every song on this album had a feature. Like I said, Lil Soft Tennis isn't a great solo rapper, but he's a lot better when he's able to bounce off other people. They also tend to give the songs a shot of energy that his rapping just doesn't bring to the table very often. Fucked Up with 3 exclamation points is an outlier on this album, sounding more like Bedroom Rockstar Confused, or even his work in the group Heaven. It's a rap song, but it features a guitar instrumental more inspired by rock music. That instrumental and the great pop chorus make this a step above everything else on this album. It's very different, but it's totally the best song here. This is like the fourth example that Lil Soft Tennis is way better when doing songs inspired by rock, especially if they have more of a melodic focus. I really wish he'd do more of these, because they're pretty much always good, which contrasts with the very inconsistent discography he has to this point. Those songs are also far more fun to listen to than whatever generic hyper rap stuff he was doing on the first couple tracks here. And then following Fucked Up, the sixth song, KANGAERU, is the complete opposite. The beat on this is just a shitty MIDI synth piano that feels so bad at being a piano that it sounds more like a xylophone. It's also super unnecessarily loud, like louder than anything else on this entire album. Lil Soft Tennis is doing this half singing, half rapping thing that sounds like ass. There's a random out of place movie sample or something, and some super cheap strings at the end, and they both also sound terrible. I'm not sure why this track even exists beyond wasting 2 minutes of my life, because there is nothing for me to gain from this. Luckily, track 7, Bicycle, is better. It features Kelmiko, and somehow this is only the third weirdest collab I've seen them do in the last year. And because Kelmiko is great, they honestly carry this song. The beat is fun, but it's kinda rough in its transitions between the quiet piano hits, the hardcore kicks, and the DJ breakdown it has. Lil Soft Tennis's chorus is better here than on a lot of songs from this album, but again, the flow and energy Kelmiko bring is what makes this song worth listening to. Without them, it would not work at all. The song Talking is next, and it brings in one of his collaborators from the group Heaven, that being Rion 4. And fittingly, this sounds like a bad Heaven leftover. Rion 4's rapping here is straight up terrible. I'm not sure what the idea was really supposed to be, it just sounds awful. Lil Soft Tennis is once again relying on a really repetitive chorus that ends up coming off more annoying than anything else. And his rapping also sucks here too. There's a random shout out to the Heaven album So Wet Boys, which I should note is a far more interesting and fun album than this one. Especially the title track on that thing. Check that song out because it's the weirdest one I've ever heard. I'd much rather listen to that than Talking, which is just bad. The ending track Girl is interesting at least, owing to the fact that it's a breakcore song instead of a rap song. The issue with this song is that I just don't like breakcore. I never have. I probably never will. And there's other portions of this song that are other forms of drum and bass, but those also just aren't for me. And the parts of this song that aren't drum and bass are just nothing. Like the drum and bass stops towards the end to make way for a chill ending section that serves absolutely no purpose. There's good ways to do drum and bass in an album closer. See the last song on PasoCom Music Club's C Voice. That's a drum and bass closer, but it feels in line with the themes of the album. It's a natural continuation of the sound that album had. Girl sounds completely out of place on this album and is dabbling in a genre that 1, this album has not touched on at all, and 2, I don't like. It's not as boring or pointless as some other songs here. It's at least an interesting and surprising first listen, but I'm never ever coming back to this. If I was gonna try to listen to breakcore, I'd rather just listen to like an actual breakcore artist and not this. So that's Eye of a Wing. I've been really interested in Lil Soft Tennis as an artist because of the disorganized chaos he tends to bring to the table. Any record he's involved in tends to be all over the place, presenting all kinds of different styles and giving you a taste of pretty much everything. On this one though, he focuses in on one sound. And that would be fine if he did that well, but he doesn't. There's too many problems with this and it's not really consistent at all. That's a problem with his whole discography, but it's really apparent here when all the songs are one sound. This would be weird by most other artists' standards, but after listening to some of the crazy things he's done in the past, this just feels bland by comparison. And there are definitely good songs here. I really like Fucked Up, Bicycle is pretty fun, Nietzsche is a good beat, but this thing gets dragged down by having just as many, if not more songs that are all varying degrees of bad, annoying, or just completely unmemorable. So I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. Probably closer to a 6 than a 7. He's done worse, but he's also done a lot better. Thank you for watching. Comment on something I can do to make this setup look better, at least on this side of the room. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have something you want me to cover or talk about on here. I'm always down for new ideas. Bye!